Welcome to the Lightworker podcast. I am your host, Natalie Grant. I am a lightworker, a meditation facilitator, Reiki master, and a health and wellness enthusiast who thrives on helping people. Connection is my superpower, and I just love bringing people to a space where transformation can occur. Are you looking for information on being a lightworker? Are you a lightworker and just love collecting knowledge from other lightworkers? Then this is exactly where you need to be right now. Spirit has brought you here for a reason, and my hope is that this podcast will offer some new information and insights that will help you on your journey. I am here to help you connect and grow on your true path as a lightworker.
Oh, well, this is take 2 of this podcast.
Yeah. Back again.
Thank you for being here, Abs.
Thank you.
Here
to talk about Egypt.
Egypt. I got my unk on.
Yes. Yeah, nice. I nearly brought, I do have a wearable one. It's just not on a chain. But I've got my Sigmet on.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. I bought that after the experience in the Sigmet chapel. We went to a jewelry shop, and I found this little segment, and I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
To keep her with me, because that was very powerful.
Well, let's start there.
Yeah.
What happened when you introduced yourself to?
I don't know if I want to start there.
Don't want to start there?
Let's start at the start.
I'm going to
go in order. Go in order, otherwise
you'll get lost.
It'll loop around or something.
Okay.
I guess what?
I wanted to get Abby on to as soon as she was fresh from her trip to tell us all about the trip, and she did.
We did the day after,
and then the tech didn't work. So today we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ways of capturing this.
It would be very bizarre if they all failed, but
so yeah, odds are we will actually be able to record this. Maybe it's just one thing I've found with energy work is that when your frequency is quite high, the tech starts failing.
Yeah, weird things happen.
Like you might have like a hum in the background, you can't actually hear the person's voice, or the whole thing drops out, or it whatever it is, or it blacks out. It's just weird how that happens, and it's, to me, the only explanation I've got is that it's a frequency thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's sort of perhaps not compatible with here and this reality, or maybe it's got nothing to do with that, and I'm just could be making stuff up. But it's just interesting. Yeah. Different times in my life when you've been talking about certain things, particularly frequency as a topic. It's like things, because you will remember when you were there, and because you are now connected through the energy line to the place, it's almost like you can connect in like a battery to the frequency that was in the temples and the chambers, and then when you're doing that, you've sort of missed that frequency.
It's all connected anyway, but then we just forge these stronger pathways, and we have that, I guess, that quantum entanglement where it becomes real as we remember. It's like all the memory work. You might think you're remembering the past, but if that creates a charge in your body, it's as real as when it happened. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So
back again, and we're
back.
I was just trust too that that wasn't the conversation to share. This is the one.
Well, you've got some exciting news that we'll share toward the end anyway. Yeah. So keep listening, because yes, it will be a nice little share.
Yeah.
So start at the beginning, because the first post I saw was this beaming grin that you've landed, and then you said to everybody, have a look at the view.
Yeah. There's the pyramids, they're real. Well, it really started before that. I mean, none of this ever starts when you're actually sitting in the class, or
No, that's true.
arrive at the place. It could start probably lifetimes ago with this, because I really, the minute that I booked to go to Egypt, I kept getting the words motherland, motherland, motherland in my head. And it was, I mean, as our guide told us, like, they believe Egypt was the first land to rise up and, I guess, be in the world.
Yeah, right.
So they do see it as the
motherland,
as the original point that was birthed of land on Earth. So, yeah. And I really think, I mean, I really think, like, when it is returning, when we go back there, if you feel the call, it's like, oh, I'm home, and it's to birth something new within yourself. Or it's not even new, it's just something that's been forgotten.
Remembering.
Yeah, so, I mean, this year's been a funny year where it's been a very inward year and a very quiet year, and in the stillness you have to kind of look at yourself of, like, who am I, what am I doing, what do I want, what's this next phase of my life bringing. I think, yeah, there's been a lot of themes of that this year, and so where it took me was like, well, I don't know, I just had this big realization, like, I'm getting older and I might never be as healthy as I am or able to do the things I am right now. So I really felt that urge to, like, say yes to more things and do bigger things, and never really had a concrete bucket list, but it was that feeling of, like, I should be getting some stuff done. I really want to, like, do some big things that have been like, yeah, one day I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like, well, when's the one day? I want the one day to be now. So that kind of was all stirring within me. And then, yeah, I saw an Egypt kind of retreat advertised and went, yes, Egypt. I've always wanted to go there. Like, I've always known I would go there. And, you know, our work with Sechem, like,
oh yeah,
it's deeply tied to Egypt. So there's always been this feeling, of course, this is going to lead us there.
Over there.
Yeah. And so it was like a big, oh, I'm going there. And then the trip that came along was, yeah, there was just synchronicities within that really spoke to me and were about what I'm about. Or, yeah, it was like, this is the one. You know, you get that feeling, this is the one. This is who I'm meant to go with.
You describe that, because that is something that we just flippantly talk about, that we just know that's what we've got to do.
Yeah.
But for some people, they don't really know, and they keep asking other people, what do you think? Should I do this? You know, what does it feel like when you know this is for you in your body?
I feel like, if I know myself, if I really want something, like, I'll feel, it's like a feeling in my body that's like a yes. So it's like it feels like I would say an opening, or usually I just start to imagine, I start to picture myself there, I start to think about booking a flight. Like, I feel like there's a flow of energy that starts, or those words like motherland drop in, like, things start happening in my mind and in my body that feel like, oh, there's things unfolding. When I don't have that feeling, if, like, you said, hey, I'm going here, want to come, and I don't get any imagining, and I don't have really a feeling, and it kind of just feels blank. And then the next day I realize, oh shit, I didn't message Nat back. It's like I just it just went
out of your head.
That, you know, and we could have that's where a pause. You don't have to ever make a, like, instant decision. Sometimes you'll feel so excited to, but it's okay to just let it sit for a couple of days and go, yeah, it's still alive in me. It's still there. It's still talking to me. And, you know, at first I nearly did book another one, because I had I am going to Egypt, I want to go, okay. And I was going to book this other one, and then, you know, again, I kind of let that sit and realized, oh, I actually have some other things on, and no, actually, now that
timing wise, that one's not really going to work.
Yeah. So the excitement was there. The, like, yes, I'm going to Egypt, and there was definitely a thought that this was the one. And then, but again, I just gave myself some space rather than jumping in, and went, let me just, you know, we don't have to rush. We can just check in. And that's when I was like, oh no, there's actually some other things that are kind of getting in the way of that feeling like a very clear path. And then, yeah, I just let that sit, because nothing else was kind of obvious to me. So again, if there's not an obvious other pathway, I just kind of sit back and go, it's going to unfold. And then, yeah, the thing popped up, and I was like, oh, it just popped up on Instagram, this ad for this other retreat. And then when I read that, that's when there was, I call them confirmations when you really see them in their reality. So it goes beyond the internal imagination or feeling. And it was key words in what I was reading about expression and dance and things that really speak to me and are what I'm about and what I love. So I was like, oh, yes, I love those things. That's great. I want to do that. And also, I'd had already so much about whales this year, and we were going to
the year of the whales, trying to reconnect.
Yeah, they bring in their medicine. So I'd had all this whale medicine coming through and just been very drawn and very, yeah, just absolutely loving whales. And so here was this whale thing again, like so many things had already happened with the whales. So to see in an itinerary to Egypt something about whales, I was like,
what are the odds?
So sometimes those are those confirmations that come along and they just back up that feeling that you've already had. And so I went ahead and booked that one. I had a chat to them and booked it. And then I had a big wave of fear come up, and I had some things that I needed to face, because that can happen too. It's, you might have your clear knowing, but your ego will have its objections, and if it does, they'll make themselves known at some point.
Do you want to talk about any of those fears?
They were just, you know, things that I thought, oh, I've read that wrong, and oh no, have I made a big mistake? And you know, that's I always turn it against myself. That's one of my patterns. That it's, I'm not one to blame other people. I'll always go, I've stuffed up, I've got it wrong, I've made a huge mistake. Like that's kind of my narrative. So
yeah,
I just watched myself doing that, and there were some practical things that I could do to, like, I could have a conversation with the person and just check some things that were triggering that feeling. And you know, then I got some confirmation on that, and I kept checking in, and I was like, this is fear talking. You know, these are fears, and I can handle them. And then underneath, is there still the clear knowing that yes, this is the trip? And it was like, well, yes. So you know, it's valid to work through the fears, but also recognize I still have that connection to that knowing and that vision and that pathway that I feel is there. And once I worked through that, I felt really happy, and that was great. And then I kind of knew that when I would get there, that would really help me to be in the calm, open thing.
Yeah, because it's like that anxiety of the unknown, because you've never been there before.
Yeah.
You're putting all of your faith into somebody that you've never met before.
Yeah, I didn't know.
You've given them a big chunk of money up front, fully paid for, and you haven't seen anything for that yet.
Yeah.
So it's not really, like, there's a lot of faith that's required.
There is, yeah, to trust. It's what I'm all about. It's what I teach about. It's what I do my best to embody, is trusting yourself. And it's challenging. It's very easy to go, oh no, run away, listen to the fear, shut down, not for me.
Yeah, stay safe. Like, like, let your protectors go, oh no, Abby, this is all too much. You need to stay home and never come out of your bedroom.
Yeah, and look, when I knew I wanted to go to Egypt, and I was watching videos of people in Egypt and trying to convince myself, it looks dusty, it looks rocky.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, who would want to go there? I should go to a tropical island. Like, what am I doing? Yeah. So yeah, I laugh at myself in the process. Like, you know that you want to go. You're not going to convince yourself by watching these videos that you shouldn't go there. So, but you know, if you need to work through that, just give yourself permission. Give that part of you permission to have its little tantrum and try and have a little, you know, talk you out of it. You know, I'm happy to let that part of me have its little say and then go, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
Even if it's dusty and dry and rocky, you can say I told you so, but I'm still going to go there.
Yeah. So then you have the knowing. Like, I suppose you've had a life now of that being reinforced, of that there is a benefit to just doing the scary thing anyway.
Yeah. But I want to say, like, I still will give room. The fears are there. I don't ignore them. If they're there, I give them some space, and I have a look at that, and I face it, and I'll have a listen. And sometimes it is like a not right now. You know.
Yeah, timing.
If we jump forward to when I did get there and it felt really great, and I did a lot of planning, I really set myself up for success, and not in a controlling way, but in a, like, I'm going on a long flight. Let me just make sure I'm as comfortable as possible, and you know, because that was one of my things. Oh, so far away, and then just like when I got there, I thought I could have just let that so far away shut me down from ever going to this amazing place or amazing other places in the world.
Yeah.
And it's really not as big a deal as
you make it up.
As I made it up to be. It was totally fine. I used to go out clubbing and be up all weekend. Like it's, I know I'm not that age anymore, but still.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a long flight. It's a long time on a plane.
What happens to us as we get a little bit older that we allow the fear to just have airtime?
Yeah.
You know, whereas when you were a kid, you didn't really let it have that much airtime. You just did it.
No, you saw the expansiveness. I guess we just,
Yeah.
But
anyway, this is something to think about.
One of the first things we did was go into the Great Pyramid, and that's when the fear, I had a big wave of
tell
fear.
us about that, because that would have been your first, well, you arrived, had your little see the view experience.
Yeah, that was beautiful, yeah.
That was the next day, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I arrived, I had got there a day early and I had a day to myself, and that was, I just went on a little explore and I felt like a little kid having a big adventure, and it was really great. And then our group came together, and then we sort of immediately went to the Giza Plateau, which is where the three, it's the main picture you'll see of Egypt, the three big pyramids and the Sphinx, they're all there together. And they're right in the heart of this city. It's pretty crazy. And so, we did have private time with the Sphinx first, which was okay. I mean, for me, we just landed as a group. We really hadn't connected. So again, I kind of just adventured by myself and just looked and played. I wasn't ready to just drop into this deep meditation and
well, you've just gotten to a place you've never seen before. You sort of want to have a feast of the eyes.
I couldn't keep my eyes.
I just want to shut my eyes straight away and go into some other spacious fairyland. I want to see where I am.
Yeah, and there was big messages for me, especially that first day, about just honoring and trusting my own self and where I was guided and what I felt like doing, and it didn't have to be at all what the group was doing if I didn't want it to be. So that was a good feeling and reminder. But then we went to the Great Pyramid, and as we were lining up to go in, I was just like, I just got, when you get that wave of fear that's really intense, the really intense fear.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I'm feeling all the feelings, and you're trying to like breathe, and where's my feet? I'm here in my body. But the minute I walked through the entrance, and this wave of like hot air hit me, and I went, it turned around and got out of there.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of fear that, it takes over your whole body. You just have to, you don't really have a choice. You don't really have a choice. I was not going to force myself through that. And, when I reflected afterwards, I was really happy that I didn't go in. It just wasn't the right time for me to go in. And there could be all sorts of factors that influence that, but overall it doesn't matter. It was the fact that
in that moment, it wasn't a yes.
Yeah, it wasn't a yes. And I did on my last day return, and I went in and it was amazing. So, and I really just felt like that's when I had to go in. So I am really...
Yeah. That to me was a perfect example of the timing of things and how quick the mind wants to create a story for a person who's having a stress response.
Yeah.
Instead of just allowing yourself to have a feeling.
Yeah.
Because does there actually have to be a reason why? Or is it just that particular moment in time, in that particular second, your body just needed to have a feeling?
Yeah, yeah.
And to not have to make it mean anything, or, it just had to process something that and then later on you were able to try again, and you had a completely different experience because you didn't agree to any of the stories that the mind probably offered you.
Yeah, yes.
You just let it be what it was.
Yeah, yeah. And we live in this body. Like, it has a say too, not just our mind and not just our heart, intuition, whatever. Like, there's like three major components that are always talking to each other. And we flow best when they're all in agreements, when they're all in harmony, when they're all ready to like go, okay, let's do it together. Definitely. So if the body's having a really strong response, you got to honor it. It knows too. It has its own intelligence. So I'm glad I did honor that. And so already like day one is like, ready. things unfolding and lessons and like, you know, things happening. Yeah, and I mean, this trip and this is, you know, you can go places for all different reasons. You can go to relax, or you can go to just see things at through one certain dimension.
Yep.
You know, you could call it surface level, but it's a way of interacting with the world. But I very much went with an interest in the energy, you know,
Yes.
of feeling what's there, of tuning into my own knowing, not very interested in blah blah, this is what we think this meant and this is what we think it was for. Or, and I mean, you talk to like, I mean, people have been trying to work out Egypt for
as long as I've been alive,
as long as they've found these pyramids and temples there and gone, what the heck?
Yeah.
What is all this? And so you can talk. People have written, there's books, there's movies, there's everything. You could go down a million rabbit holes about what are the pyramids, what were they really for,
and they're all theories.
Yeah,
they're just theories,
and maybe they're true and maybe they're not, but
we don't really know.
I like experiencing these. I like to have my own lived experience of something. So I'm never one to sit there and want to hear blah 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 blah. That's not, personally, that's not interesting for me, and that's not the type of experience I call into my life, or I hopefully create for people that come and learn or do things with me too. I like to have, let's find out. You're going to find out for yourself. I'm going to find out for myself. We're going to find out together.
Yes,
that's the kind of energy I like to have. So it really was a group for me because that was the approach. That was, you know, we had a guide who was Egyptian born and could talk, because when you go into these places, their religion's quite different, and they don't, a lot of the guards, the people that are there in the temples, whose job is to, I guess, make sure you don't touch things you're not supposed to, or go places you're not supposed to, but also a lot of them are very anti-meditation, very anti going there for spiritual purposes. So, or you can pay them and then they're okay to sort of step aside. So there is a big culture there, tipping culture, where to actually have the time that you might want in these places, you either have to have a private visit, which is very, very, very expensive, or you have to be constantly paying the guards, and you have to kind of know how to talk to them and what the politics are and everything, which is where a very good guide is pretty much essential if you want to go and have these experiences and get to spend some time in these places, or really, yeah, do or access the things you want to access, because some places again are all shut off, but then you can pay them and they'll let you go in and experience them. So that's just a part of it that's kind of built in, which, you know, made me very thankful for our guide and his approach too. He's an energy healer. He's very much into the
amazing
following the flow of the currents of these places. And yeah, so I was very, you know, when you know you're in the right group, or you're with the right people that facilitate what my heart and soul was looking to get out of it. And I wouldn't say I even went with a clear intention. It was just to feel and to learn. It definitely wasn't to try and like take anything from there, and I definitely didn't go, I'm here to connect this or do this special work. I was like, I'm just here to be me, and we'll just see what
happens,
what unfolds from there, which is
curiosity.
The approach I try and take anywhere. Usually it's our mind that makes up, oh yes, I've got to go do this and this and this, and if you go with that attitude and you follow that, sometimes that can actually block you from what is happening and what you are feeling and what you are meant to experience there, because you go looking for a particular thing. Where's this experience I'm meant to be happening? Or I read that so and so felt this, so am I going to feel that? Whereas this is thousands and thousands and thousands of years of energy and information stored in these temples and these power places. There's just so much, you can just feel and it's not on one, it's like multi-dimensional storage vaults of information.
Well, even just a little bit of looking that I've ever done, you sort of, you sit in that kind of energy of who was this person who carved that into the rock, and what was on their mind when they were doing that, and what was the message that they truly wanted to leave there for the future.
Yeah.
So that they could access something that was obviously as important enough to stick into rock, so that it couldn't be.
I was literally thinking that on the way here.
Burned. It couldn't be, floods couldn't. I mean, it would be less likely that a flood would, have a lasting effect on it, because if it's in a rock, it's going to be embedded there for a very long time.
Yeah, and it's a place in the world that it's quite unchangeable. The weather is very
stable, so it's that sort of way that I kind of have thought about it. And then I mean, just doing Reiki has shown me that, the concept of Chinese whispers, of one person interpreting information, then goes to the next person and they interpret it slightly different, and then the next person interprets it slightly different, and eventually what was actually taught could be something that is completely different to what's being taught now.
And language, and the limitations of language.
But those translations of what the hieroglyphs mean and all the rest of it, we don't really know. But what we know is that by being in the present moment, where we can get to a place of neutrality, of wonder, that can potentially help us connect to consciousness in that now moment, that could then potentially help us to connect to information that has been lost, because we're, like you're saying, trying to make something happen, or trying to be right,
or figure it out,
or letting it just come in, however it's meant to come in, because we don't even really know, like, whether the previous civilizations lived the way we did, or it looked at their reality the same way we did.
Well, in the temples, every surface is covered with these carvings. It's not just hieroglyphics. They didn't stand out to me as much. It's like a story. Like, around every chamber, it's just floor to ceiling. Like, every single surface, the outside of the building, the inside of the building, the ceiling, like every single surface has this information on it. And what, like, I had my own pondering about it, and what dropped in for me was like,
what came in for you when you looked at it, when you were in the present moment, when you connected to consciousness there, what came through for you?
Well, I really had my eyes open a lot, and I just found myself sometimes going into sort of trances and staring and pulled to different symbols, and noticing myself do that. Your awareness just gets pulled to, and I'm like, oh, there's the snake again, or there's this again. Like, I just found myself tuning in automatically. I didn't try and puzzle out what that meant. It's just, okay, I'm receiving something there. We're always receiving so much information on so many different levels than just what our thinking mind can ever process. And so, what I had drop in was that they wanted this information. This information was so important and so beautiful and so vital to our humanity, that they made sure it's here, it's in plain sight. And whether or not you can think and process what it means doesn't matter. It's like, just by looking at it, you're feeling the energy of the intention of that being created. Like, that energy is still there. The people who, or beings, or whoever they were that created that frequency is still there. So you're getting so much on so many levels without, light language is my thing, and the most common thing, what's it mean? Or I'm saying it, but I don't know what it means. And it's like, because that's like you looking through a lens this tiny, and it's this big. And you're trying to, like, understand it through this one little point of consciousness, when it's encompassing so much more. And that will, if you're meant to have conscious understanding, it's way too much for it to be like, we'd be fried. And I mean, moving through those temples, there's so many different energies. Each temple has different energies. Different parts in the temples have different energies. So, and when you're approaching it to just, receive that energy and let that current run through you, sometimes it can be very activating. You feel super energized. Sometimes really trancy. If you're not used to that too, there was one lady in the group who, she was the first to say, wow, this is all weird for me, but like, I'm here, it's great. But she was yawning so much, and she was like, "Is it normal to feel so tired?" I'm like, "Yeah, that can be normal when you're not used to this.
Yeah,
you know, you're used to this being your baseline, and suddenly,
yeah, body has to adjust.
It can be quite tiring. I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good most of the time, but I mean, they're big days, and time is very warped there too. Like, it didn't feel like normal linear time. So,
and plus, you would have spent you spend so much time in the present moment when you're doing an experience like that. It will stretch time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would feel like weeks. Yeah, it's only been a day.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's so true. It felt like I don't even know how long that was, but it was not. It was not the same feeling as like nearly 2 weeks is here at all. It was a lot. Yeah, and I mean, every person's experience is different. I could, try to think what to say that's, there's a lot that's just personal to me. It's not something that's going to happen for someone else.
We want to know what was personal to you, particularly because,
I guess,
just to look at and have an insight into just one person's experience there. It doesn't mean that people need to compare what theirs is, but just to hear it. You know, when you've described that when you're looking at all of the stories that are on all the walls, and how you were able to just be present, and that your consciousness was being drawn to the different symbols within that. Like, when you went to the first temple, for example.
So the first temple we went to was Karnak, which is huge. I think it was originally, well, I mean, again, there's
different stories for it.
Yeah, but it's about the sun, and they have these huge obelisks that harness the energy to generate. Like, a lot of it's about energy and generating energy, and but anyway, that's where there is a hidden kind of chapel to Sekhmet. And Sekhmet, I learned Seishem with you, and that was the introduction to Sekhmet. I'd heard of different Egyptian deities or energies before, but I'd never heard of Sekhmet. And I was like, who's she? She seems pretty amazing, and it seemed weird I hadn't heard of her. But anyway, there's this statue to her in this temple that is not really open to the public, but again, you have the right contacts, you can pay, and they'll take you there, and it's very hidden away. You wouldn't ever just stumble across it. And I'd heard stories about people having amazing experiences with this statue, so I was trying not to get my hopes up, but I was.
It's funny, isn't it? You sort of like, don't get excited, don't get excited.
Don't get excited, because I don't want to do
it. Might not be like that for me.
I just say it as, you give yourself a little pep talk, but the minute that they opened it up and we walked in, and there was 2 people before me, and I sort of stood up to the side, and I just looked at this statue, and my eyes kind of felt like they locked with her, and I just went into a real trance state, and I just could not stop staring, and I just felt my energy alter. And I also felt like I was waiting, because, there was one person with her, like, right up, approached the statue, and then someone else was waiting. So I felt like I just went into this really, like, I'm preparing to meet you.
Yeah, wow.
And then, the person in front of me was finishing, and then I was ready to step forward, and then kind of our group leader, she kind of suddenly appeared out of nowhere and was like, oh, I have to do this thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just stood and waited, and as I stared at the statue, and I thought, oh, I'm just waiting patiently, and she was like, roar, and just had this voice in my head saying roar, and I knew all this light language was ready to come out, but I sort of said, no, well, there's something happening, they're doing a thing. She's like, roar, and so I just let all this light language start to, like, unleash, and I was crying, and it was very loud, and the guards were kind of like, oh. But one of the ladies in the group said afterwards, she was like, I held the guard back and said, she's receiving a download, don't you interrupt her. So it was good. I had, like, some support. Yeah, support. And it felt very, very powerful. And as I was doing that transmission, there was the thing that was happening with the statue with the other people, like, watching this guy in our group opposite me, and he, as I started speaking light language, his body started shaking and he started like sort of crumbling, and then he ended up like down at the ground. And yeah, it was just very powerful. And I felt like there was some energetic exchange happening there. And then when I actually when that finished and I actually got to approach the statue, I kept wanting to kind of fall to the ground, and she was saying to me, look me in my eyes, like stand in your, it was kind of like a stand in your power, like you don't need to bend. And when I actually talked to that guy afterwards, he was getting the message from her. He was like, I can't hold this energy, I need to fall over. And she's like, fall to the ground. And it was all about like the masculine and feminine and
balancing.
A lot about
it's balancing. Okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to step into your power.
Yeah.
Which is the anti, the way that
the opposite is what
people have been taught how to be.
Yeah.
As a woman, you're supposed to be submissive and you know, bow down, and as a man you're supposed to be the one that holds everything. Where the truth is, we're both. We need to be allowed to be both. Because we've got both in us.
So yeah,
powerful exchange.
Oh, it was amazing. It was like, I was like, oh wow.
Like the seishem that we learned is all about bringing to balance that masculine and feminine energy. And so what an experience to have that happen in one of these temples where you were initiated, I suppose.
Oh yeah, it was very amazing. And you know, people had different experiences in different temples, so it's never going to be the same place for everyone. For some people they might not get much, but in another one they'd be like, whoa, that was crazy. And so there was different points in different places where some people would be going through a big thing and I'd just be like, oh, there's nothing for me here. Or other rooms I would go in and I'd suddenly have all this light language or feel this different energy or have different kind of downloads or insights. Another one was the Isis temple, which I had never felt a strong connection with Isis. I know a lot of people do, and I kind of went into that one. It was one of the last places we went, and I thought, I don't know if much is going to happen here. We'll see.
Yeah, so what happened in there, Abs?
This was wild. The minute I walked in, and you know, this was at the end of our journey, so of course, whatever journey you go on, it culminates. There's pieces and there's threads, and as it draws towards its conclusion, often a lot comes together and lands. Walking onto that land and sort of, we'd always kind of find a place to go and drop in before we fully entered the temple, but you're already connecting with the energy. And our guide would describe it as like feeling the current and then seeing where it would then
guide you. Yeah.
And so, the minute I was kind of, you know, guided to sort of stand, and I just felt all this energy coiling in me, which it was like seeing snakes and dragons, and I would describe it as like a Kundalini activation. I don't know if it's awakening, because I feel that energy is awakening me to a degree, but this was a very strong Kundalini activation that started down here. It was very sexual energy. It was a very potent, like, creation energy. And I was like, whoa, what's this?
Hello.
Feel good. And then, just followed that through the temple, and it just got stronger and stronger. And I thought, I would have to, like, have it. I felt like I had to have an orgasm, but I don't know if I wanted to do that, but it erupted as laughter. Actually, it kind of all came out as this like laughing fit, and then a lot of light language, which kind of wouldn't stop for a while, which was really fun, and very, very powerful. And you know, none of this was just unique to Egypt. A lot of these themes and threads that came up for me, and that I, you know, it's always kind of unexpected, but when I look at what I've been working on the last few years, all these different things in my life that have been happening, it was this huge culmination of all that. Like, so many, so many things really reaching this
crescendo, climax.
And that hasn't stopped too. I mean, it didn't just stop there. As soon as I got home, there was just so much shifted. It's like you can it's like looking at reality on a different level. That's how it felt. Like everything looks very different, and that's settled a bit. It was very jarring at first. I was like,
yeah,
what is all this? What's all this stuff? What is all this? I don't need any of this. But yeah, this is the integration part. So
yeah, because that's something that when you've had a big spiritual experience, that you do need a little bit of time afterwards just to allow everything to kind of fall into place. Because one of the things I watch people struggle with is that you've had an experience and then the mind wants to give you a story about it.
I did it. I had an amazing experience. I did feel at the end it was complete, but then then I started going, oh, I really like this feeling. How can I get more of that feeling? And then it takes over. It's like your nervous system gets involved and the mind's like, yeah, how do we get that feeling? How do we create more of that? And that can drive you to do some crazy things. So, again, it's going, hang on a minute.
So it's like the beginning of your journey where there was nerves to going there.
Go there. Or...
Now it's like a chasing feeling that you sort of got to be with and see what that is like.
Yeah, and not make decisions on that energy, because when we make a decision or we start something, it's built on the frequency or the intention that we created it through. So if you're like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, you're just going to get more of that. You're going to create a flow and effect of experiences that keep giving you this feeling, which might be good in some ways, but I know for me, for my nervous system, if I kept that up, like, no good. I would crash and burn pretty quick. So, I definitely had to, it took about a week to sort of ground and then to see, okay, yeah, there are definitely things that are shifting and changing my reality, and I'm happy for them too, but it's not to do with chasing a feeling. It's about embodying that feeling and bringing it through in a more like grounded way. So yeah, that's all kind of flowing, and part of that is going back to Egypt.
Yay!
And guess who's coming?
I'm coming. I can't wait.
Gosh.
I watched your journey and I was like, because I really thought that I'd be going in 2027 and had that mindset and all the rest of it. And then when you were there was just
you were getting the visions.
I was getting the visions and everything you described. And I was like, oh. And then it wasn't until you got back and you said, I'm thinking of going back there. And I'm like,
oh, I knew when I was there. I was like, and I'm going to be back here, and I can't wait. When I'm back here, we're going to do this. And
and I was like, oh, well, if you're going, I want to come. And when are we thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, next year. Oh. And then I had to go into that whole,
my
spirit told me that I'm going in 2027,
but it's also like, when did it tell you? Because
well, exactly, because we change
and we attach to I did this because this and this.
Yeah. And then it's just doing what you were describing at the start of just sitting with that and going, okay, so what is this the right time? And then weirdly there's a whole bunch of other things that have just kind of kept reinforcing
confirmations in your physical reality that's like,
that this is the way it is. And some of the things that that you described on your journey to Egypt is interesting, because I sat back and gone, yeah, my mind is actually creating that too. The worthiness. Are you worthy to spend that sort of money?
Yeah.
Like,
it was actually such a big thing for me to book that and and even just I kept looking for permission. I was like, oh, can I book? I'm talking to my husband and saying, I feel like I want to book a private room. Is that okay? And he's like, if you want to. I'm like, I don't know why I'm looking for permission for this. Like, if I work and I earn money, and if I want to do this, like, why am I looking for this permission? And
it's weird how we've all been trained that way.
It was really big for me to say yes to it, and then end booking the flight that was not the cheapest, but it was the most direct,
convenient, because I've had a look and I'm like,
It was the most direct.
Some of them are like 90 hours and you've got 50 million layovers, but I found one.
Yeah.
That's one stop.
Yeah,
easy.
That's what I did. Qatar Airways. Qatar Airways. I'll be an ambassador if they want, because it was great. But I was like, no, actually, for me to arrive feeling the best I can, like, you know, it was a new layer of giving that to myself that I hadn't in the past. I would have always tried to go the cheapest option, or I was like, actually, I'm done with that. I don't need to do that. And, you know, I mean, looking within your bounds of not stretching yourself in a way that does activate your nervous system. But when I looked at it quite grounded, I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do this? And I kept just thanking myself the whole time. I'm like, really thankful that I booked a private room for myself. I'm really thankful I booked this flight. I'm really thankful I, you know, made this consideration for myself. I'm really thankful that I said yes to all of this. Imagine if I wasn't experiencing this because I was like, it's dusty, or it's this, or we shouldn't spend money on that, or on my freaking living my life. But like, this is your life.
So what are the dates, Abs?
The 22nd of November to October to the 1st of November.
October to the 1st of November,
2026.
2026.
So excited.
It is happening. It's beginnings.
Lots of amazing things we're going to be doing, and it's a bit of a different flow to the one I did, but the same PowerPoints and same like highlight things, and going to the Valley of the Whales, which is quite out of the way, but it's a very amazing place. So we're going to do that this year. If I do another one, I'm not sure we'll put it on there, but it has to happen this time. I really want to be back there. Yeah, but we'll see. Every group's different and what we need to do.
Well, exactly. So does it feel like this might become the new adventure?
Well, I already have people saying, oh, I can't this one, but I'll be with you in 2027, and you know.
And you're like, I hadn't thought that far ahead.
I mean, actually I can. Like, this is a big thing, because after this trip too, like, I used to be very, I don't know what's coming in like a month. I can't think that far ahead, and
something's shifted this year.
I feel like, oh yes, I can see the progression, and I want a progression, and I want some solidity in these things. So yeah. And I had already kind of thought that, but again, it's that confirmation from spirit, the universe, whatever, saying, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Here it is. Go after it.
Yeah. Very, very amazing place. Definitely, there is absolutely a reason we feel called to it.
Egypt's been in my mind since I was a kid.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
And it's a thing that, again, I just think, oh, that's normal. Everyone loves Egypt. And I was trying to, the Ankh. Like,
yeah. Here it is.
And then my husband's like, oh, what's that thing called? I'm like, what? Yeah, you don't know what's called an Ankh. And then he said people at school, and they were like, no, what is that called? And so again, you realise not everyone is tuned into this. Not everyone feels that pull, that strong, like, hello.
Yeah.
But we do.
We do.
And I've just, oh my gosh, if you feel that you absolutely should go there.
Yeah, definitely. And come with us.
Come with us.
Come with us. It'll be fun.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come and talk about it all.
Oh, thank you for coming on, and hopefully our tech works this time. I mean, we've got lots of contingencies just in case. But
there's 3 things looking at us right now.
It's just lovely to actually hear somebody's lived experience.
Well, thank you
with it, and I'm excited about the guide that you found.
Yeah.
That sort of does speak that language of frequency, and is kind of coming from that perspective, and there is an adventure for everyone. And it's just about finding the one that is for you, rather than doing it because you think you should, or just follow the thread. So for me, that next year will be a huge, I suppose, if we want to call it a bucket list thing, because it's been on my list. I've got quite a few places that are on my list. And when I was younger, my whole body was a no to travel. It was a stay in Australia. It was. So I did. I travelled Australia twice in my life, which I feel really lucky about. and got to see some amazing sacred sites here in our own backyard, and connect to the energy and to the energy lines and the land here. It is magical here. And so I never really had that pull to go further.
Yeah.
But now my kids are getting a bit older, there's kind of that pull to, I suppose there's the space to not feel guilty about taking that time for yourself.
Yeah.
Because when they were little, that was my, there's stages and phases in life. And I knew that was an important phase, and it will continue to be, but there's space now for other, which has been exciting. So, and I want to be able to go and feel and...
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what you're going to have happen there.
And this is the thing, I don't want to build it up. It might not have anything happen, So it's trying to sort of contain that that excitement, really, because just stepping into, because one of the things that I feel really lucky is I've regressed to lifetimes of living there in my own past life regressions. I've facilitated other people's regressions to living there.
Yeah.
And so from a energy perspective, there's a lot of information that sits in the consciousness that I've had lived, felt, experience from that perspective. So it'd be interesting to go and experience a physical 3D experience in real time reality, instead of the stuff that comes in through consciousness. So that bit to me is interesting.
It'll be the best. It'll be so good.
So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your adventure. And come with us. I'll have some information in the show notes for if you're wanting to get in contact with Abbi. And how many people have you got space for when you take me out of the equation?
11.
There's 11 more. So,
but there's quite a few who are pretty much committed already. So
so get in.
Yeah.
And I think we only got the PDF last night, so this is fresh. This will go live in 2 weeks, so it'll be over Chrissy. And come along.
Yeah, thank you.
It's going to be so much fun.
We're going to Egypt in 2026. In this episode, Abbi shares about her adventure in 2025 to Egypt, and shares that she is now going to take a group of us to Egypt in 2026. Are you going to come along with us? Happy New Year! The content found within these podcasts are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Nothing on this website is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any physical or medical conditions. If you have any physical or medical conditions, you should seek the advice of your medical professional immediately.